Psychology says the people who never post their photos might actually be the most secure ones in the room. They're not withdrawn, not broken, and not afraid of being seen, the way most people assume. Their brain just operates on a quieter, more internal level that doesn't rely on constant visibility. And understanding this shift can change the way you interpret your own relationship with attention. Tap like and subscribe as we get into what's really happening beneath the surface. Chapter 1. Psychological effects of constant online performance. Have you ever noticed how posting a single photo can instantly change the way you see yourself? When you put your image out there, your mind shifts into a mode where you're not just living your life, you're monitoring it. This is where psychology introduces the idea that over time, your brain starts to treat you like an object to be evaluated, rather than a person to be experienced. You begin to see yourself through imagined eyes, shaping your identity around how you think others will respond. And with every post, that internal critic grows louder, pushing you to perform instead of exist. For many people, this cycle becomes so normal they don't even feel it happening. They just feel tired, restless, never quite good enough. Validation becomes a quick boost followed by a quiet drop, and the whole process repeats. But those who don't post their photos often step outside of this loop without realizing how rare that is. They move through the world without tying their worth to an algorithm, sensing that their identity is something steadier. And if you pay attention to that difference, you start to notice something deeper beneath the surface. Chapter 2. Misconceptions about people who don't post photos. Psychology says people who never share their photos are often the ones people misread the most. You might have been labeled shy, insecure, distant, or uninterested, simply because you don't put yourself on display the way others do. But the truth is that many people who post frequently are chasing a sense of validation that you've never needed to feel whole. Your sense of self doesn't depend on an audience. And that alone sets you apart in a world where visibility is treated like proof of worth. Instead of performing, you stay grounded in who you are, even when no one is watching. This quiet confidence can make others uncomfortable because it doesn't fit the usual script. They expect people to seek attention the way they do, and when you don't, they assume something must be wrong. But your restraint often comes from a deeper inner solidity, a feeling that you don't need to announce your existence. And when you look closely at that instinct, it leads you toward a question people rarely think to ask about themselves. Chapter 3. Authenticity over performance. There's a quiet relief that comes when you finally realize you don't have to turn yourself into a highlight reel to be real. While most people feel pressured to shape their identity around what looks good online, you may feel an instinctive pull towards something more honest. Psychology often sees this as a sign that your internal compass is stronger than the external noise, guiding you away from anything that feels artificial. Instead of curating yourself, you choose to stay aligned with who you actually are, even if that means being seen less often. You don't want to bend your personality into a version that earns approval but doesn't feel true. For you, authenticity isn't a performance, it's a boundary. And that boundary makes you immune to the constant, subtle pressure to polish, filter, and frame every moment. You sense when something you share stops being an expression and starts becoming an act, and you instinctively step back. This resistance to performance may look quiet on the outside, but inside, it reveals a deeper pattern that shapes how you move through the world. Chapter 4. Self-protection and learned avoidance. People say you should put yourself out there, but psychology shows that not everyone's history makes that feel safe. For some people, staying out of photos isn't about shyness at all. It's about experiences that taught them visibility can come with a cost. When you've been judged, dismissed, or misunderstood, even small moments of exposure can feel sharper than they should. Your mind learns to scan for danger in places others don't notice, creating a kind of quiet hypervigilance around being seen. And instead of pushing through it, you protect yourself by choosing privacy over performance. This isn't fear, it's strategy. It's what happens when your nervous system remembers the moments you opened up and didn't feel held, so it keeps you guarded in the present. Avoidant attachment often grows from this place, not because you don't want connection, but because you've learned to survive without depending on it. And while the world might call this withdrawal, there's often a far more sensitive inner story shaping your choices. As you look closer at that story, something else about your relationship with energy and interaction begins to reveal itself. Chapter 5. Introversion and Energy Conservation. Imagine walking into a room, feeling every conversation tug at your attention, and wondering why even the idea of posting a photo feels like another drain on your energy. You're not avoiding people. You're managing the subtle pull that interactions create, both offline and online. For introverted minds, even a simple post isn't just a picture. It's an invitation for responses, expectations, and emotional exchanges that you'll feel responsible for. Your nervous system registers all of that before you even hit upload, which is why staying quiet often feels more natural than stepping into the spotlight. Solitude isn't an escape for you. It's where your thoughts reorganize themselves and your emotional world settles into clarity. This is why you recharge in silence, while others recharge through attention. It's not that you lack interest in connection. You just experience connection differently, more deeply, more thoughtfully, and with more internal weight. Your quietness is a form of energy stewardship, a way of keeping your inner world intact. And when you start to notice how this shapes your sense of self, it opens a window into something even more profound about the kind of person you're becoming. Chapter 6. The Role of Solitude in Identity and Emotional Development. Picture yourself sitting alone with your thoughts, not because you were pushed there, but because some part of you feels more honest in the quiet. Solitude has a way of sharpening your inner world, giving you space to notice emotions and patterns that most people rush past. When you spend real time with yourself, your emotional intelligence grows without you even trying, shaping a deeper understanding of what you feel and why you feel it. Some people choose this quiet because it fuels their creativity, helping ideas form in ways that noise could never allow. Others find themselves in solitude because life made connection complicated, leaving them to build strength in their own company. But even then, being alone isn't a single emotion. It shifts between peace and longing, clarity and ache, expansion and retreat. You can feel deeply grounded one day and strangely unseen the next. And both experiences are part of the same path. This complexity doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means you're tuned into your inner landscape more closely than most. And if you listen closely to what solitude reveals, you might notice it's quietly shaping a version of you that few people ever get the chance to become. Everything you've heard points to being unseen as a flaw, but psychology shows it's often a sign of someone who knows themselves more deeply than they realize. You carry a kind of calm awareness that grows in silence, shaping the way you feel, think, and connect. There's a steadiness in you that doesn't depend on being watched to be real. If this helped you understand yourself, you're welcome to like and subscribe. And if you're curious what else your inner world might be hiding, the next video explores 9 strange traits that could mean your mind works on a level you never expected.